Alright folks, welcome to the channel, and we've got a neat gear review for you today. This is I think our first gear review, so we're going to lay out a couple ground rules. First things first, any of the gear we review is equipment that we've purchased with our own money, either with the intent to review or the intent to use it in our normal diving operations. So that said, if you're a gear manufacturer or a gear dealer, by all means send us some free stuff. We won't review it because we have a little bit of integrity, and but we will take that money, we'll sell it, or that gear, we'll sell it on eBay, and buy Liquorman's Old Dirty Canadian Whiskey with it. So, you know, by all means, send us some stuff. So this is the Sub-Gravity DIR knife and pocket. Now, I think Deep Sea Supply sold these. I had a couple people were making them for a long time with an industrial sewing machine. Very, very simple piece of kit, but it's an essential. It solves a problem. With a couple things that I want to talk about that I don't like about it. So just to get right to it, it's got a slot cut or sewn into it. This is made to go on the buckle side of your belt on your back plate and harness, and then that basically stays there all the time. The point of these is they're reliable yet cost effective. So I've been diving with a similar knife setup on my back plate since, I'm going to say, 2005, and I have not lost a single one. I've never lost the knife out of here. Now if that were a $90 titanium H-embossed fancy knife, I'd probably lose it between the truck and the dive site, and then you're heartbroken about it. So we kind of look at what piece of equipment can do the job, be minimalist, do what we need to do and nothing else, and at the same time be, again, cost effective. So if we lose it, we're not heartbroken, we're out a few pennies or a few bucks. So that fills this niche. This will cut line, this will do a couple other little jobs. That's all we really need a knife for underwater. You know, I know a dive shop's happy to sell you a $200 or $300 bayonet that you attach to your calf, but again, it's completely unnecessary and a little bit ridiculous. So anyways, this will attach to your harness. The knife pulls out. It's a little bit tight. I guess if I had one complaint about the pouch, is that it's just a little bit snug compared to some of the others. But that's a tough balancing act between getting one that's going to securely hold the knife and still be able to release. Cold water, this is a little bit more of a hassle to get in and out. But as long as you can get it out, that's the most important thing. Because when you need one, you need it. You need to be able to get it with one hand. So I'm going to talk about the knife for a minute. This is a very, very, very cheap steak knife. And the whole point of this, I think this goes back to like the Bill Main, George Irvine, do it right and do it with less. They were using steak knives they're probably stealing from the local steakhouse after a big old cave dive. And this follows that lineage, but I'm going to fault this a little bit. This steak knife is just a little bit too frickin' cheap, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. With minimal effort, I was able to pull the blade right out of this plastic knife handle, and you can see that the tang of the knife is very light, weak, and short. So if you apply a bunch of cutting force, it's likely to break, and then you have two problems. So that said, I'm not going to call this a negative review. I'm going to call this thing garbage. But we just won't worry about that. Now really we're reviewing the pouch, because the other thing about this is it's an easy problem to solve. I think even Sub-Gravity will sell the pouch separate from the knife, and I think that's the best route to go. So I'm going to show you what I use, what I've come up with, and this again pays lineage to the old George Irvine knives from the old DIR forums. This is a steak knife. I think we got it at like the second-hand store or whatever, and we've cut it off. Much the same way. So again, this will rip through some decent lines, cave lines, wreck line, whatever, webbing. Say a stage bottle gets tangled up in something, you need to cut it away. This will do the job. It's a little bit nicer fit in this pouch, but the key to this I was looking for is it is full tanged. In other words, the stainless steel of the blade runs the full length, so even in your hand, you're not going to break that. So the other thing I do personally, I've seen people experiment with all kinds of different setups, but what I found works really cool is this little V that I've notched out, and I've done a pretty crude job of doing it, but the purpose of that is to reach into the valve on a scuba tank and tighten that up. Because it seems like you're just about to jump off the boat, or you're doing your pre-dive checks and you find this guy's loose. Or actually, there's been one instance where I was on a cave dive in Ginny Springs and this all came apart on my oxygen bottle, and I was able, because I had this tool, put it all back together in the water. So I'm going to experiment with a couple other different ideas. I'd like to maybe cut a little wrench serration into here so that I can turn a bottle on and off without the valve knob in place. But this is what works for me. All in, including the package, you're less than $30. A little bit of time with a grinder and some safety glasses. You got a really cool knife that, again, if you lose it, you're not heartbroken. But because it's cheap, you'll probably never lose it. Last thing I want to talk about line cutters, again, keeping it simple, is Z knives are excellent. They're just sort of tricky to find a spot on the gear for them to go. And again, hard to get out with one hand in some cases. But I'll show you the other thing. So I carry 2 cutting devices on every dive, kind of as a rule. And this is a trick little spot where I keep a Techna razor knife. And these are available from Light Monkey. Sorry about the focus. These are available from Light Monkey. They're available through Techna. There might be a couple other manufacturers or other brands selling them. They all kind of come from the same place. Techna's kind of a retro brand. Takes you back to the good old days. But this one's really good because I can get at it in a hurry. It's literally on a cave dive in my hand. So slick, you don't even know it's there. Haven't lost one of those in probably 10 years, which is pretty good luck. And it just connects onto the Goodman handle. Kind of a piece of equipment that a lot of people didn't know exists. So that's a review. Not all positive, not all negative. I bought it with my own money, and every time I buy a new backplate and harness, which seems to be more often than it should be, I add one of these to my kit. So that's a piece of gear I bought with my own money, and I recommend you buy one with your own money. Thank you for watching.